Hello, Boston Celtics fans. Today's update is packed with a lot of important news as we inch closer to the crucial Game 5. Before we dive in, make sure you're all tuned in because things are heating up and you will not want to miss any details. In this episode, we're going to break down the injuries that have been piling up for the Celtics, take a close look at who is ready to play, who's still battling to return, and who remains sidelined with ongoing challenges. As we move through this discussion, there's also a key tactical shift that we noticed between Games 3 and 4, something that could have a huge impact moving forward. With another day to rest and recalibrate before Games 4 and 5, the big question now is, what strategies can Boston implement to lock down this series once and for all? Honestly, this series shouldn't even stretch to 6 games, and judging by what a lot of people are saying, I'm not the only one who thinks that way. Now, before we dig deeper, I just want to take a second to say thank you. Thank you for the amazing support during the live broadcast for Game 4 last night. We hit an incredible milestone. 49,000 subscribers. That's mind-blowing, considering we started with only 18,000 when this journey began. These last 18 months have been nothing short of amazing, and every single one of you has been a part of it. I am beyond grateful. Now, we've set our sights on that 50,000 mark, and we are just 866 subscribers away. Let's keep pushing, because big things are happening. Let's get into some player talk now. Starting with Jason Tatum. If you've been watching closely, you'll notice he's introduced a new way of celebrating his three-point shots. In the last quarter, after nailing a deep three, Tatum raised his wrist and basically told everyone that nobody could stop him. And honestly, that could not be more true. Even though he's dealing with a pretty significant wrist injury, you would barely notice it from the way he's playing. In the last few games, Tatum has been showcasing the playoff form that Celtics fans dream about, putting up 36 points in one game and 37 in another, averaging around 40 minutes on the court each night. He's come close to putting together back-to-back double-doubles, and while his assist numbers have dipped a little, his shooting, both from the field and beyond the arc, has been incredibly impressive, especially against a team known for having the best three-point defense in the NBA. That is no small feat. Right now, he's averaging about 2.5 three-pointers per game, and honestly, it's just inspiring to see a player like Tatum pushing through an injury of this magnitude. After one of the games, Tatum mentioned that he and the team fully understand the seriousness of his wrist condition. But at this stage of the season, everyone is giving everything they have. Watching him play, you wouldn't guess he's carrying an injury at all, and I bet you don't see it either. This playoffs are all about toughness, sacrifice, and pushing past the pain. No one is feeling 100% at this point. That's just the reality. But seeing how Tatum handles himself under these circumstances really shows why he's the cornerstone of this franchise. Since 2020, Tatum has racked up more 30-point playoff games than anyone else in the league, and that's a stat that deserves all the attention. Playoff adrenaline is a real thing, especially when you're trying to steal wins on the road. But Tatum isn't just scoring, he's also standing up for his teammates, even arguing with referees when needed though. To be honest, I might not fully support that part. Nevertheless, you can't deny his passion. Every drop of energy he has, he's leaving it all out there on the court, and Boston clearly feeds off of his leadership. Recognizing Tatum's influence doesn't mean underestimating the rest of the squad. We know how talented the entire roster is, but let's be real. When Tatum is not on the floor, there's an undeniable spark missing. Especially in these playoffs, his presence makes all the difference. When I first heard about his wrist injury, I figured it would come down to his pain tolerance. And so far, he's proving that he's willing to fight through it for the sake of the team. That determination is just incredible. Tatum refuses to sit out, continuously pushing forward, even with the pain clearly lingering. It's important to note, though, that he's not alone in dealing with physical struggles. As he said, nobody is completely healthy at this point, and some of his teammates are battling injuries of their own. One particular player I had high hopes for, someone known for being a fighter and never backing down, is pushing through his own issues. Despite being in obvious pain, he's managing to maintain an impressive average of 25 points per game, even stepping up with a 36-point performance when Tatum had to miss a game. Word came out recently that this player has a serious bone bruise on his right knee. a lingering issue from the regular season. And if that's not enough, he also dislocated his index finger during one of the recent games. You might have noticed him clutching his hand trying to shake off the discomfort, but in reality he had to manually pop that finger back into place. And he's still playing through it. Right now that finger remains dislocated, and it's a complicated situation. He's battling injuries both to his lower and upper body, which speaks volumes about his toughness. But it doesn't end there. Another key player missed 2 games due to a thigh injury that has been a nagging problem all season long. To make matters worse, he also needed 5 stitches on his forehead following a collision during one of the games. So when you look at the current state of the Celtics roster, it's incredible that they're still pushing this hard. One player is playing with stitches, another with a bad thigh, and 2 others are dealing with serious hand injuries. It's a lot to absorb. That's why winning this series in 5 games is absolutely crucial. And this team is built to be tough and physical, but dragging this series out to 6 or 7 games could really push them to their breaking point. The good news is I genuinely believe we won't need that many. There's optimism within the coaching staff as well, with one coach recently expressing confidence that a key player will return for Game 5. And let me tell you, having him back could be the difference maker. This particular player's defensive presence is critical. When opponents try to drive into the paint, his ability to disrupt their rhythm is unmatched. Having him on the floor creates chaos for the opposition's offense, and without him, the defense simply doesn't have the same bite. His presence gives the Celtics a real chance to wrap this up quickly. Even if he doesn't return immediately, I still have faith in the team, but with him out there, my confidence goes through the roof. There's another player whose return could also change everything, especially because of how he impacts the opposing team's stars. His physicality, his ability to contest shots, and his relentless hustle are things that simply can't be replaced. Against a team like Orlando, whose key players rely heavily on driving and mid-range shooting, having someone who can pressure them effectively is a huge advantage. And speaking of Orlando, it's important to talk about the adjustments the Celtics made in Game 4 that need to be carried over into Game 5. One major adjustment that stood out in Game 4 was how Boston handled the defensive matchups. Early in the series, there was a questionable decision to have a smaller guard, standing about 6 feet and 1 inch tall, defend Paolo Banchero, who towers at 6 feet and 10 inches. That was always going to be a mismatch, especially considering Banchero's strengths. He's not a player who thrives from the three-point line or under the basket with power moves. His game is all about those silky mid-range fadeaways where height and wingspan become massive advantages. Having a shorter defender on him only made those shots easier. Thankfully, the coaching staff realized the mistake and made a smart switch in Game 4, assigning a taller, more physical player to cover Banchero. And immediately you could see the difference. Banchero started missing those crucial 6 to 10 foot shots that he had been hitting earlier in the series. Now, don't get me wrong, he still dropped 39 points. The man is a beast. No denying that. But the defense made it far more difficult for him. It wasn't just automatic anymore. That slight adjustment alone changed the tone of the game. And it's something Boston absolutely needs to stick with moving forward. And it is not rocket science. You match size with size. You counter length with length. That is just basic basketball, and the Celtics executed it beautifully after recognizing the flaw. Physicality is key here. This has been one of the most physical series I've witnessed in a long time in the NBA playoffs. And Boston has to continue bringing that edge against Orlando. Now, shifting gears slightly, let's focus on paint protection. This has been a crucial battleground all series. In Game 3, Boston allowed Orlando to dominate inside. They lost that game by a slim margin of 95 to 93, and the turnovers played a huge part, but giving up easy points in the paint was just as damaging. Then in Game 4, Boston tightened up. They didn't allow Orlando to bully their way to the rim nearly as much, and that was a huge part of why they were able to take control. The Celtics need to keep clogging the paint. When you look at Orlando's roster, realistically, there are only 2 guys you truly need to worry about offensively. Other players might get hot here and there, but they are not consistent threats. If you pressure Banchero and Wagner, force them to make plays from the outside, you'll live with the results. Neither of them is consistently lighting it up from deep. They might make 2 or 3 threes a game between them max. But when they get into that 6 to 10 foot range, when they're taking short jumpers or floaters, that's when they're most dangerous. Taking that away has to remain a top priority. Boston did a better job of that in Game 4, but it's not something they can afford to let up on. This series could already be over if not for some sloppy execution in earlier games. That brings me to another crucial point: taking care of the basketball. Turnovers absolutely killed Boston in Game 3. 21 turnovers. Let that sink in. You're not going to win playoff games, especially against tough defensive teams like Orlando, when you cough up the ball that many times. Some of them were understandable, forced by good defense, but a lot of them were just careless, stepping out of bounds while attempting a three-pointer, committing backcourt violations, double dribbles, and palming the ball. Things you would expect to see in a pickup game, not in a playoff series. The officiating hasn't been stellar, we all know that, but blaming the referees only goes so far. Every team in these playoffs is dealing with questionable calls. You have to control what you can control, and that starts with valuing every single possession. In Game 4, Boston trimmed their turnovers down to just 10. That's the difference between winning and losing. They need to maintain that discipline going into Game 5. Another important element is attacking the basket. In Game 3, Boston scored 44 points in the paint. In Game 4, they dropped to 38, but the approach was better. The key is continuing to put pressure on Orlando's interior defense. The Magic are known for having one of the best perimeter defenses in the league, but their rim protection is not nearly as strong. In fact, often their bigs are drawn away from the basket trying to contest outside shots, leaving the paint vulnerable. That's an opportunity Boston has to exploit. You could really see the difference in the way the team moved the ball in Game 4. There was a better use of pick and roll action, more decisive passes, and players cutting to the basket instead of settling for contested jumpers. It's about fundamentals. Set solid screens, roll hard to the rim, and finish strong. That formula works, and it needs to be the blueprint again in Game 5. There's no need for overcomplicated schemes or wild adjustments. Stick to what worked. Attack the rim, protect the ball, and keep the defensive pressure high. Those 3 things done well should be enough to close out the series in 5 games. And look, there's a lot of pride on the line. Finishing this thing in 5 sends a message to the rest of the Eastern Conference. It tells everyone that Boston is not here to play around. They're here for a title run. Now, let's not overlook another piece of good news. One of our key players recently won a major award, a first for his career. That's huge, not just for him personally, but for the morale of the entire team. He stands 6 feet and 1 inch tall, and he's been a relentless force for Boston all season long. Getting recognition like this is not just a feel-good story. It's proof that hard work and dedication are paying off. It's the kind of energy that can lift a locker room, make a good team even more dangerous. Fans should rally around him, celebrate his achievement, and understand that moments like these can fuel deep playoff runs. Awards are not the ultimate goal, but they are a reflection of the culture being built within this franchise. A culture centered around toughness, selflessness, and an unwavering commitment to excellence. As we gear up for Game 5, the mission is clear. Play tough, play smart, play Celtics basketball. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. In a surprising move that has turned heads in the NBA, Bobby Portis has joined the Boston Celtics, adding a new layer of depth to an already talented roster. The 28-year-old power forward, known for his physical style of play and scoring ability, arrives in Boston after several successful seasons with the Milwaukee Bucks, including playing a key role in their 2021 NBA championship run. This acquisition brings a wealth of experience and versatility to the Celtics, a team that has consistently been a top contender in the Eastern Conference in recent years. Portis is known for his tenacity and ability to make an impact on both ends of the court. Offensively, he has the ability to stretch the floor with his shooting, particularly from beyond the arc, and can provide scoring off the bench or in the starting lineup. His toughness and intensity on defense will also be a valuable asset for Boston, especially as the team continues to battle through a highly competitive conference. Throughout his career, Portis has demonstrated the ability to rise to the occasion. In big moments, His most memorable contribution came during the 2021 playoffs, where he helped propel the Bucks to an NBA title. His clutch performances, including a critical 23-point outing in Game 6 of the NBA Finals, earned him admiration from fans and players alike. This ability to perform under pressure is something the Celtics will be eager to incorporate into their own championship aspirations. Adding Portis to a roster that already features stars like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown strengthens the Celtics' championship credentials even further. With his ability to contribute both as a scorer and a defender, Portis adds a dynamic presence that could be crucial in Boston's pursuit of an NBA title. The Celtics are a team that prides itself on its defensive prowess, and Portis fits that mold perfectly with his physicality and grit. Moreover, Portis' experience playing alongside Giannis Antetokounmpo in Milwaukee gives him a unique understanding of how to play in high-pressure environments. His leadership, especially as a veteran player, will be important in mentoring younger players and adding to the Celtics' overall team chemistry. The Celtics' decision to sign Portis is a clear statement of intent. With the team already well positioned in the playoff picture, this move signals that they are fully committed to securing a championship in the near future. Portis is the kind of player who brings energy, toughness, and the ability to impact the game in multiple ways, making him a perfect fit for Boston's goals. Fans will be eager to see how his skills complement the team's current lineup and how his presence on the court elevates the Celtics' play as they continue their quest for another NBA title. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.